Chapter 4, Step 2, Know Thyself Weaknesses. If I'm perfect, why do I have weaknesses? Weaknesses are those aspects of yourself that you determine are not helpful to your growth and development. These are the things holding you back. Though they are not bad or wrong, for instance, I have a difficult time making phone calls. That's not a problem for most people because of texting and email, but it limited my business effectiveness when I had my clothing company. Picking up the phone and building relationships with vendors and retailers would have been more effective than sending impersonal emails. Most of us have aspects of our lives we are very confident about, and others we are not. I'm confident about my ability to get stuff done, less so about accounting and bookkeeping. No matter what combination of strengths and weaknesses you have, the important thing is to know what they are and craft a plan based on that knowledge. We've identified strengths. Now let's take a look at weaknesses, or the things you want to change or heal in your life. No one listens to me. One of my weaknesses is a tape that plays in my head and comes out as the self-deprecating statement, "No one listens to me." Considering my purpose in life is writing, speaking, teaching, and coaching, that tape needs to change. I recently sought the help of Dr. Deborah Sandella, psychotherapist and founder of Regenerating Images and Memory Method, or RIM for short. More information in Chapter 5 about healing. To sort out this issue, through this RIM technique, she took me back to the earliest memory of feeling unheard when I was 4 and living in Aurora, South Dakota. There have been many people for whom limitations, failure, loss, or pain in whatever form turned out to be their greatest teacher. It taught them to let go of false self-images and superficial, ego-dictated goals and desires. It gave them depth, humility, and compassion, made them more real. Eckhart Tolle. Most behaviors that don't serve us are a result of something that happened before we were 7. According to Gerald Powell of Rhythmia, before a person is 5 or 6, something happens to disconnect them from their soul parts. When he said this, I thought, not me. My childhood was amazing. I soon discovered many things happened when I was young that still have an impact on my life. These memories are stored in our body as emotions and act as blocks to our growth and development. It is essential to access and release these blocks. We don't even know these inner tapes are playing until we go looking for them. Issues arising from these early experiences quickly become part of the deep mind or subconscious and play out throughout our lives until we excavate and release them. Everyone has some event in their early childhood that rattles their world. Many of us have several such occasions. We don't keep these memories active, but store them deep inside. Looking at these memories and acknowledging their stored energy or emotion helps them go away and stop affecting our current life. It is this self-assessment of weaknesses. Look inside your body to unearth the events, emotions, and blocks that are limiting your success. Innocent game of tackle. Back to the story of my 4-year-old self. We lived in the rectory, house for priests, of the Catholic Church in a small town of 500 or so inhabitants. Our house even had a confessional in the basement, a small booth in which people would kneel while confessing sins to the priest, where we often played church. The 3 of us kids were allowed to roam all over town, the only stipulation being we were home for dinner when the church bell rang at 5 o'clock. It was a wonderful place to live as children, and we felt free to explore without restriction. My dad, brother Brett, sister Debbie, and other neighborhood kids and I were playing our favorite outdoor game of pom-pom pull-away. Begins with one person being it and standing in the middle. Everyone else lines up along one edge of the field. Whoever is it yells, "Pom-pom pull-away, come away or I'll pull you away." According to the database of games, everyone runs to the other side of the field without getting tagged by the it person. Because my dad grew up playing football in Iowa, however, each person had to be tackled, not just tagged. Once you're tackled, you join it and help tackle the runners. Eventually, one person remains who has not been tackled. They should be the winner. As I recall, in our version, the last person standing was tackled by all the other players. In the game, I remember I was the last person standing, a tiny 4-year-old girl, and not very tall, I might add. Now, my dad is a large, strong man. When I was clobbered and landed at the bottom of the stack of children and my giant father, I thought I might die. The wind was knocked out of me and I couldn't breathe or speak. No one could hear me. It scared the dickens out of me, and it seemed like a long time before they let me get up. I was terrified. After this session with Dr. Deborah Sandella, it made complete sense to me how that experience had led to a lifetime of feeling unheard and unseen. Through this healing RIM session, I let go of the emotions related to that impactful experience and released the idea of not being heard. Peeling an onion. It surprised me that such a seemingly innocent event could wreak havoc on my life as an adult. I look back and understand we were just playing and no one was to blame for my situation. Nonetheless, the experience had a significant effect. Now I have a better understanding of where that limiting belief came from and feel lighter having released the emotion. The internal investigation and release of stored emotions is like peeling an onion. You remove one layer, which reveals another layer. This is a continuous life process. When we look at our weaknesses and identify those things in our lives we would like to move out, we begin to peel the onion. Let's begin identifying your weaknesses, areas of less confidence, and pain points so you can later release what is not serving you in Chapter 5, Healing. These are the pain points or problems, real or perceived, in my life. Next question. Okay, so I am perfect, but if I could be better, what would I do differently? Here's what I focus on most of the time. These are the tapes that play in my head from parents, society, and experience, and limit my success. These are the most challenging things that have ever happened to me. Here is how I grew from these situations. These are the toxic people in my life. These are the supportive people in my life. If I could change anything in an instant, what 3 things would I like to have different? My perceived limitations. Here is what I can do about the above perceived limitations. I am super confident about my ability to. I am least confident about my ability to. What does a state of healed look like to you? If you were fully healed, in complete alignment with your higher self, what would that look like? Would you experience greater abundance, Would you feel more fully loved and accepted? Only you know the answer to this. As quickly as possible, allow your imagination to present 5 things you can do to make tiny improvements right now. Great. Thank you for spending a moment in this less comfortable space. Looking at our limitations and weaknesses loosens them and helps correct or release them. Like a whining child, if you give them attention, they usually quiet down. Those blocks don't dissipate. Oh, those blocks that don't dissipate need more work, and we will get to those soon. Perhaps there are some weaknesses you are comfortable with. Strength and weaknesses are based more on perception than truth. What seems a weakness to one person may be a strength to another. We may see introversion as a weakness because society rewards extroversion. However, knowing we are an introvert, we can build a life plan that capitalizes on all that is good about introversion, like being a good listener and observer, not needing to be the center of attention, inner confidence and knowingness, and allowing others to be right or take the floor. Nearly every aspect of life can be a good thing if we choose a path that celebrates and complements the quality. For those aspects we deem not appropriate to carry forward, let's do some self-healing to release the emotions that tie us to them.